computer games or board games.
But again, like, even the board games were Gareth's thing. Like, we would do all of that. We loved it. And we'd just sit there going, oh, great, Monopoly again, Scrabble, woo! Like, I think as a family, we've played a board game maybe once in the last 10 years. And it was literally me and my mum playing Scrabble against my brother and his wife. And it got so competitive, because my mother's worse than I am, that we've just agreed it never happens again. Because we end up hating each other.
I'm starting, because the thing is, I think when you try and introduce people to games, you have to get a view of what it is they want out of it and what their personality is, and we'll come to that in a bit. But I'm starting to get a picture of what it is that we need to think about in terms of games.
My mind is going.
I mean, we do, like, you know, to be serious for a second, we do talk about barriers to gaming a lot. For example, one of the things that is often talked about is that any of the sort of games where you're meant to put a headset on and talk to people, women are massively not keen on that because of the horribly toxic atmospheres that exist on many games, that they don't also, or just the responses they get. I mean, I think I'm not plugging the subreddit Girl Gamers enough, because I only mention it once an episode. But
I don't know what a subreddit is.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you later, though.
Okay.
But so there's Reddit, and then there's subreddits, which is like it's like a magazine within Reddit. Think of it that way.
Okay. I actually opened Reddit for the first time last week. It was very exciting.
Was it because I sent you a link from Reddit?
Yes.
Well, it might be. But yeah, so this is a brilliant subreddit where women talk about gaming, and the most common thread topic is, I just turned my mic on and said something to my team, because a lot of these games depend on doing cooperative teamwork and sort of say, you go over there, you go and get that guy. And she was like, oh, this is why I never turn my mic on, because suddenly everyone's like, it's a girl! It's a girl! And one of the things that's fascinating to me as we've been talking about this is that there are loads of women in gaming. They just don't want to turn their microphones on because they're too terrified of the shit that they will get. And so, yeah, I didn't really have a question for you, Hannah, but I was kind of like, but I mean, you are probably the least likely to have felt this was a barrier to you getting into gaming, but does it worry you?
I don't like talking to strangers, which I know it always surprises people, because my job is literally meeting a new stranger every 10 minutes. But I think it's possibly a slightly ADHD masky thing. It's possibly that is my work mode. And, you know, politics is my work mode. Giving talks is my work mode. And actually, the second I'm not in that mode, I hate small talk. I find meeting new people absolutely terrifying. Like, this is okay because I'm in work mode in my brain. So I can, like, make it okay. And actually, I kind of vaguely know Jem and I've seen Alex before. So this is all kind of fine. You all seem lovely. And Caroline, let's just not go there. But, like, I think I'm not so fussed about men being assholes online necessarily, because frankly, I get yelled at by people every day. Like, that's a kind of an occupational hazard. I think it's more that talking to strangers is like the least relaxing thing I can think of. So I just don't want to.
Yeah. No, and we talked about that a lot. Like, sort of like, Alex, you don't play any online games like
not
this
at all. I hate it too. And there's plenty of games where you don't have to talk to anyone, so I play a lot of those.
Okay, I'm feeling better about this already.
Yeah, there are plenty of games where you can talk to people if you want to, but you can also not talk to people if you don't want to, which I think that's where I'm kind of liars. I like the fact that if I want to play with some people I know, or my partner, or any of that sort of stuff, then like we can do that. But Jem, you have the background of having been in a game.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, to be really honest, I met my two husbands, my last one and my current one, online, and I met in games, not dating apps, and I also met all of my previous boyfriends actually online. So I've met I met some people in school.
I mean, that in itself is an amazing marketing thing that we should be like, genuinely, have you seen how
sure I would
it is
necessarily
when
recommend it as a dating app. me, I absolutely take the points that have been raised here. I think it is quite nerve-wracking, and now the idea of going into an online game and having to meet new people and build up those relationships and all of the issues that come with it is quite daunting. However, in my experience, online gaming is a really nice way to meet people who you would never necessarily normally come into contact with in your daily life. So my husband is Swedish, so I would not have bumped into him in my life. And the other people that I met were from all over the country. They were not from my local area. So I would not have had those experiences, and I made friends from all around Europe as a result of the online gaming that I did, and experienced people from lives that I would not have come into contact with. I met people who were living in Guatemala, and were able to describe, all sorts of lifestyle that I had no connection with, and I met people who came over from New Orleans to London to meet us because they played on a game that we played, and we had a meetup, and they traveled all the way from America for like 3 days just to come to this thing, and for me it was a very positive experience. But I can see, it also has all these negative things, but you can build a connection with somebody online in a very gentle way. You can just slowly build up that connection. It's not as intense as when you meet somebody face to face and you feel like, oh, I've only got this certain amount of time. You can build a relationship over years with somebody in an online environment. And so I think there are pros and cons, and I think it's a shame that so many women feel sort of shut out from this environment where there is such an opportunity for building very deep and meaningful relationships with people that from lives that you would never normally connect with.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely the nail on the head. There is the problem is there's too many women who are scared to do that first bit because of the negative experiences. The saying, I'm going to go with 50% negative to what could be the 50% positive. No, I mean, it's even in the toxic environment that is Rust. So Hannah, we've been friends for 3 years now. In that time, I've probably paid about 400 hours of Rust, and you have no idea what that is. So it's a game where everything's on a big island. You get dropped down with nothing, and you hit rocks and you hit trees and you gather stuff until eventually you've built yourself a fortress and you have guns and you have armor, and you go out and you kill other people and steal their guns and armor and destroy their houses with C4 and vice versa.
Sounds charming.
Well, the nice thing is the building. See, I like just finding a nice bit in the middle of nowhere in a forest or on the sea, building a nice little base, making it nice inside. You can decorate it, you can put some art up, and protecting it. If someone comes and attacks me, then, I might take them out, but I don't go out looking for people to raid.
You're big into the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Basically. Only retaliate. But again, there have been people who, because I do that on servers, like they will eventually start putting in the chat, Snuggleskunk, you're here again. So they know I'm on the map all the time. They know I'm not getting involved in any fights. And very occasionally I do involve myself in the chat and call somebody an idiot if they're being homophobic or racist or something. And there have genuinely been nice interactions with people. There have been people who, as you say, Jem, over time, like I will actually be like, hey, it's so-and-so online again. And it's like, it's nice and happy. And like, yeah, there is an opportunity for human interaction and development that in the BAFTAs this year that we were talking about in our previous episode 2 weeks ago, not 10 minutes ago. But the gaming BAFTAs, one of the big themes of it was how so many people had turned to gaming during the pandemic as a way to connect with other people, as a way to bring people together, people celebrating New Year's Eve on Animal Crossing together, which I'm so happy now, Jem, that I found out you did that.
I have photos to prove it. I will share them with you.
So, Hannah, I'm going to show you Gem's house on Animal Crossing because I have that picture available. Gem sitting in her little house in Animal. So Gem
just like me, doesn't it?
Gem will have chosen that wallpaper, that sofa, that furniture.
I love the effort you've put into scent. Like, you've got some candles which are presumably scented, you've got a diffuser which is putting out scent, and then you've got the reed diffuser, which, given you can't smell any of this, I am loving that level of dedication.
I actually have something similar. I've got an aroma pot and the reed diffuser in my Animal Crossing house as well. But you know, Hannah, as somebody who takes a lot of interest in designing a house, Animal Crossing is basically like a less hard-working way of redesigning your own cottage.
Yes, but to counter that, I get to play with actual power tools. Which terrifies no one, given my propensity.
Yeah, but do you get to dig up fossils and take them to an owl in the museum and get him to assess them?
I mean, I am in quite rural Yorkshire, but I don't think we've got that place just yet.
Let's not be rude about
that was
Yorkshire.
a very left of field question there.
Yeah.
You can always tell it's the second show we've recorded as I lose it a bit by the second. Sorry. I've stuck to my 2 beer limit, so it's fine.